Coming up on Mornings on the Hill, the wind is whipping outside. A wind advisory in the area right now. We'll have what precautions you should take. And one of our own speaks to SU's quad guy, what message he hopes to spread during the holiday season.
All that plus your weather and orange sports coming up on this edition of Mornings on the Hill. Good morning, I'm Elena Lucido. Thanks for joining us for Mornings on the Hill.
And I'm Maddie Mustian. Let's get right to our top story.
The U.S. men's national team won 1-0 over Iran yesterday during the World Cup, but controversy followed when Iranian citizens celebrated USA's win.
Michael Villegas joins us live in studio with more. Michael?
Celebrations broke out in Iran yesterday as their national team lost on the U.S. World Cup stage. These public celebrations are another form of protest for the Iranian people towards the current regime. This national uprising began after the death of 22-year-old Kurdish-Iranian woman Mahsa Amini, who died in September after being detained by the country's morality police for improperly wearing her hijab. Videos showing the celebration as citizens honk their car horns, dance in the streets, and even setting off fireworks in cities like Tehran and the Kurdish region, which have seen some of the hardest crackdowns by the regime. Iranians felt as though the team was representing the government and not the people, but some players were seen not singing the national anthem during their first game against England to show solidarity with their fellow citizens. Reports following that match said that players were informed by the regime that their families would face violence and torture if they continued to protest. Now, as the Iranian athletes travel back home after the loss, there are concerns about their safety following the perceived demonstration during the national anthem. For now, human rights protests continue to sweep the nation. For Mornings on the Hill, I'm Michael Villegas.
In other news this morning, a Syracuse student is bringing good to the campus community in a new way this holiday season. Mornings on the Hill reporter Micah Prine Goldstein joins us live from the quad. Micah?
I am in the quad now, and just a few weeks ago, I was walking by this same corridor when I came across a guy with a sign, now known as Quad Sign Guy. He seeks to spread positive words of re-encouragement this holiday season to the Syracuse campus community, and I am lucky to have him joining us with us now today to tell us what his real intentions are behind. And tell me, Quad Sign Guy, what has been your intention with bringing these positive words?
Yeah, you know, I think really positivity is the key. I'm just out here trying to spread positivity. I think a lot of kids in our generation struggle with their mental health, whether it be depression, anxiety, and I think that's a lot in part to do with social media just feeding us negativity. You know, everything we see is what's wrong with the world, so I just kind of want to have one positive thing per day for people to see.
That certainly is inspirational, and mental health is at the forefront of all of our minds. Tell me, where did you get the inspiration to do such a thing?
Back home, I live in a small town in Vermont, and my grandfather would stand on the roundabout with signs, and he did that for the last 20 years. So I kind of wanted to carry on his tradition. Last June, he moved out to Oregon, so he's now on the other side of the coast spreading joy, so I figured I'd hold this coast down for him.
Such a firm and great holiday tradition that you are bringing to the campus community here. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much.
For Mornings on the Hill, I'm Micah Prine Goldstein. Back to you in the studio.
Syracuse University is calling for submissions in the 2023 Veterans Writing Award. The award was created to honor veterans' contributions to literature. The winner of the award will win $1,000 in the contract with Syracuse University Press. The award is open to any U.S. veteran, active duty members, and their immediate families. Submissions are due by February 15th, 2023. The winner will be announced by November 2023.
Last week over Thanksgiving break, many SU students traveled to visit their families. Mornings on the Hill reporter Zach Richter joins us live from the College Place Transportation Center with more. Zach?
Good morning, Maddie and Good morning, Maddie and Elena. This past week for Thanksgiving travel was a mess for students coming and going back to campus over break from crowds, delays, and traffic. This past year, the week was a one to remember, not in a good way.
From buses to trains and planes. Those are the three main methods of public transportation getting to and from Syracuse. However, when the weather gets bad, that makes things a little bit more complicated.
Going home, I originally had a train with Amtrak to go all the way to Cleveland, but because of the snowstorm that took over Buffalo, they canceled all trains.
This made flights in and out of Syracuse even more expensive than they usually are.
So my original flight was to Buffalo, but then there was like the huge snowstorm, and I was supposed to leave Friday because I live in Chicago, and from Cuse to O'Hare, it was $1,500. I don't have that kind of money.
However, public transportation isn't the only way to get home for students without a car. Syracuse University Student Association offers buses for SU students to take home over most breaks. This past Thanksgiving, buses to Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, New Jersey, Boston, and New York City were all offered, with all the buses leaving right from College Place. SU student Brooke Siegel took the bus to and from Washington, D.C., and she says it's the way to go.
Basically, I signed up in, I think, October. I just had to pay like $100 for a trip there and back.
So the Student Association, as you heard earlier, was offering buses for students, and the buses were all around this place, just where this truck was, that was bringing those students to those 5 different locations. And what made travel this year more of a mess than usual was when Buffalo got that snowstorm and received up to 5 to 6 feet of snow. From College Place this morning, Zach Richter for Mornings on the Hill.
I don't know about you, Maddie, but this morning I woke up to the wind howling.
And on my walk to the studio, my eyes were watering because the wind was so bad. And with more on that intense wind, Mornings on the Hill weather guy Jeremy Lynch is outside to give us an update.
Currently in Syracuse right now, it is about 46 degrees outside, which is pretty cold this time of year. Feels like 38. It's very windy. There's actually a wind advisory tonight until 9 p.m. As we look at more current conditions, it's currently 46, as I just mentioned. Feels like about 38 degrees. And as we come back here, I'll have your full weather for you after the break, but I'll be back in studio for your full weather, assuming that I don't get blown away in the process. But Elena and Maddie, I'll send it back over to you.
Coming up, a volcano in Hawaii erupts after 38 years of dormancy.
And tornadoes sweep through the south. All this and more up next on Mornings on the Hill. Tornadoes continue to sweep through the south, making their way to Alabama and Mississippi. 2 people were killed north of Alabama after 3 collapsed on their home.
Early reports say that numerous homes, a fire station, and an apartment complex have been damaged. Currently, 50,000 people are without power, and authorities have worked towards opening a shelter for victims.
The world's largest active volcano has begun to erupt. Mauna Loa on the island of Hawaii covers over 2,000 square miles and is one of 5 volcanoes on the island. Mauna Loa averages an eruption every 5.5 years. Hawaii Governor David Ige says that the lava is not threatening, but all 200,000 residents of the island have been put on high alert.
Public safety orientation classes are held once or twice a month for refugees by the Syracuse Police Department.
Jayla Pettis joins us live in studio to explain how beneficial these classes are.
Public safety orientation classes are offered to refugees who have recently arrived in Syracuse. Syracuse Police Detective Selimovic was once a refugee and currently leads the classes, teaching refugees basic law enforcement procedures.
For the patrol and gold one for the detectives. So these people,
the Syracuse Police Department offers public safety orientation for refugees to understand the laws and order of the United States. Orientation teaches refugees when to call 911, the Syracuse Police, and the Fire Department, but also knowing the difference between a police officer and a detective. Detective Janan Selimovic has been in the same shoes as the attendees.
Now, since being a police officer and being a former refugee, I know what refugees need to make their life successful in the United States. And a lot of these are legal issues and fear of the police.
There are currently 18 police officers who were once refugees and then transitioned into law enforcement. It's important to have a diverse group of officers because many refugees don't speak English.
Every day that we are dealing with people outside, we're dealing with diverse community, diverse culture, diverse language. So we have to have a diverse community in order to communicate with the community outside.
These classes have been put together to make participants comfortable calling 911. Detective Selimovich's mission is for refugees to understand that there's hope for them to have success and live a sustainable life in America. Orientation classes are offered on demand and translators are present to help with language barriers. To find out when the next class will be offered, follow the Syracuse Police Department on Instagram at Syracuse Police and Facebook at Syracuse Police Department. Reporting for Mornings on the Hill, I'm Jayla Pettis.
Jayla, thank you. A bill codifying federal protection for same-sex and interracial marriage is on the way to the House. The Senate had a hard time passing the Respect for Marriage Act after having to get it through a filibuster. Republicans who opposed the bill also introduced 3 amendments which the Senate rejected. The act passed with support from all Democrats and 12 Republicans.
61, the nays are 36. The bill, as amended, has passed.
Mr. President, what a great day. What a great day.
The White House is in support of the protection of same-sex and interracial marriage. President Biden says he'll be ready to enact the bill if it passes through the House.
Time to check your weather for today.
Mornings on the Hill reporter Jeremy Lynch is in studio with a look at your full weather forecast.
Thanks, guys. So if you look at your weather today, in Albany, it's going to be about 39 currently. A little bit further north, it's 33. As you get into Binghamton, 39. Rochester, 47. So as you get further and further west in New York, it's getting warmer. And if we look next at our hourly forecast, it's going to be about 50 degrees. And as we get into later in the day, it's going to dip down to about the mid-30s. And then starting getting back up tomorrow, it's going to get back up into the mid-30s yet again. So for tomorrow, in the morning, there's a slight chance of a rain and snow shower. And the afternoon, it's going to get a little bit rainier, but by evening and night, it should clear up. And then as you get into your 5-day forecast, tomorrow it's going to be about 34 degrees and about 30% chance of rain. Friday, it's going to be very nice with 42 degrees. And Saturday, it's going to be about 51, but rain's going to be in the forecast. And Sunday, it's going to be about 35. And Monday, back to a chance of rain and snow.
Good morning. I'm Sammy St. Jean with your Orange Sports Update here on Mornings on the Hill. With the World Cup going on, it is impossible to not turn our attention there. And I'm lucky to have both a soccer lover and a D1 veteran with me in Sydney Staples. Jumping right into it, familiar with your face. Don't have to go too crazy into the introductions, but I want to ask you, who has impressed you the most? What teams have stood out to you? Maybe 2 or 3 teams that have, really impressed so far.
Spain, first and foremost. They're one of the teams that actually haven't clinched one of those round of 16 berths quite yet. But their young midfield is something that is doing really well this World Cup and will for future to come. Next, I have England. They are so deep. You have players like Marcus Rashford and even Phil Foden who are not starting. They started yesterday, which was cool to see, but it's just a testament to the fact that they have so much depth and truly they're going to be an impactful program moving forward. And finally, honestly, our own U.S. men's national team. I'm so happy to see that they're doing so well. And I mean, I'm looking forward to their game against the Netherlands this coming Saturday.
All right, now talk about teams. How about players? Has anyone really caught your eye over the course of the first few games?
I think it's easy to say Messi. And I don't want to say that just because, of course, he's such a well-known name, but let's talk about his goal against Mexico. Hello, Messi doing what he does best. But it was his goal against Saudi Arabia, that PK, and also what could have been more. So although Argentina lost that first game, it could have been much different if those games would have counted, and it's all because of Messi.
Yeah, that's true. I've loved what I've seen from Richarlison over with Brazil. But last quick question, Messi or Ronaldo?
Messi, everybody wants Argentina to win for Messi because it's his last World Cup, and I haven't really heard the same about wanting Portugal to win because it's Ronaldo's last World Cup.
No, that's fair, and a little drama with Ronaldo on the side of Man U and leaving and all that kind of stuff. But from the World Cup stage to the NCAA, where the Syracuse men's soccer team continues to battle on for more, we don't really have to go very far, just right here to Sydney Staples.
Syracuse men's soccer is headed to the NCAA quarterfinals for the second time in program history. It would take 83 minutes before a goal was scored on Sunday, thanks to sophomore Jonah Label. Cornell's corner found their fifth-year Nick Allen's head, but redshirt senior Russell Shealy collected it. He found Label making a run downfield, and honestly, Jonah did what he does best, score in big moments. He beat two defenders and struck it bottom right past Cornell's freshman goalkeeper Ryan Friedberg for the game winner. It was his fifth goal of the season and Shealy's first assist. Talk about exciting for a goalkeeper. I mean, are you kidding? Syracuse will host Vermont for the NCAA championship quarterfinals on Saturday at 2 p.m. The Orange tied the Catamounts earlier this season, and I'm excited to see what's going to happen at home.
Now back on the couch here, it's Sammy, Sydney, and Paulina here. Paulina Shimanova, thank you for joining us here on Mornings on the Hill. And to start off, first, you had your senior day very recently. I want to ask what that last game and that last day were like for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, playing your last game as a collegiate athlete, you know that it's very last game. It's just very exciting. You have to take all in, perform your best. When you go in to serve that ball, you know, it might be your last serve ever. So you gotta, you know, how I did my top spin, it toss that ball, you power through. It's just very, very exciting. Even though the outcome wasn't the one that we expected, I truly enjoyed every moment being on this court one last time.
And what do you think, or what would you say has been your favorite moment so far over maybe this season, but also your career in its entirety, if you can pick one?
I would actually pick two, and both of them were against Louisville. First was my sophomore year when I recorded 36 kills in a single match, which is now the record for a single game against Louisville. And funny enough, this year, again, game against Louisville, and both of them were home, I recorded the most kills in the history of SU, so those two matches were very meaningful to me.
Now, with your playing career kind of winding down, what do you expect kind of as your involvement going forward with SU volleyball?
I mean, I'm still here in the spring, gonna practice, stay in shape in case we'll get a good offer to play professionally, but mostly focusing on my career as a broadcast student and doing the most out of it, being on ACC network, trying to be involved in the studio shows, and being Mornings on the Hill next semester.
And I guess one more question for you would be, what do you want your legacy, or how do you want to be remembered as a volleyball player with Syracuse?
I think I've done enough throughout the 5 years of my career, but I want people to look up to me and future players to look up to me as a challenge. So they'll be like, oh, she has 1,800 kills. How can we beat that? So kind of like a motivational aspect there.
Perfect, Paulina. Thank you. And that's it for your sports update here on Mornings on the Hill.
Still to come here on Mornings on the Hill, how downtown Syracuse is decorating the holiday season.
Stay with us to see how our MOTH crew does the holidays. That story and more just ahead.
The city of Syracuse is lighting it up for the holidays.
Isabel Flores took a trip to downtown Syracuse to showcase some of the winter activities you can take part in this season.
The snowiest city in America is ringing in the holiday season. That's right, there seem to be lights on every corner here in Syracuse, and buildings are adorned with color, from bars to apartment buildings. The city of Syracuse is definitely getting in on all of the fun. In downtown, Clinton Square has already set up the annual ice skating rink for residents to come over, grab some skates, and get on the ice. With activities and decor like these, the holiday season is guaranteed to be merry and bright.
Now, coming from sunny South Florida, I'm not incredibly used to ice skating yet, so I'm really excited to hit the ice this season to practice my skills, especially during winter break when my family comes to visit. But speaking of breaks, this Thanksgiving break, students were able to take a load off before finals and enjoy Thanksgiving. So here's what some of our Morning on the Hill squad members were up to. Pleasure to babysit our dog, our friend's dog, but that was taken before we got a pink Christmas tree, so now it looks really, really homey. We have 3 Christmas trees, but still plan to get 1 more. So Santa definitely exploded in our common area. This is Arlena Lucido posing with her sister. Really cute picture, great lighting. This is Jayla Pettis with her family. Beautiful picture, beautiful family, and this is her with her parents at the Wake Forest game against Syracuse during the break. This is Sammy St. Jean with his parents peeking out a Christmas tree for the holiday season. And speaking of Christmas trees, our Jeremy Lynch helped to decorate his Christmas tree when he went back home. And this is our Zachary Richter, like he's skiing in the mountains with his family, so really, really cool. And this is our Maddie Mustian's dog Lulu in a little elf costume looking adorable. So guys, are you excited for winter break? What are your plans?
I am. I'm excited. I'm going home, and then my family and I are going to Siesta Key, Florida. So we go down to Florida every Christmas for the past like 3 years or so. So I'm excited to chill, read a book, and get a tan.
What about you, Elena?
I'm really excited. Luckily, home for me is here in Syracuse, so I don't have to go very far, but I'm just excited to spend the time with my family, sitting, cozying, reading, just celebrating the holiday season.
It's amazing. I'm also actually staying here in Syracuse because my family really wants to come here and see all the snow and the ice skating, and I'm really excited to do that with them as well. And after not being able to see them for such a long time, I think it's just going to be so nice to be able to, hang out, be able to hopefully see snow, be cozy, and hopefully get a white Christmas.
That's going to do it for us this Wednesday here on Mornings on the Hill. I'm Elena Lucido. Follow us on social media.
I'm Maddie Mustian. Thanks for watching Orange Nation. We'll see you next Wednesday for our last show of the semester right here on OTN.